Okay. So today we're going to talk about guidance. And before I read a little paragraph out of A Course in Miracles, I want to set this up a little. And I know there's great confusion over this whole idea of law of attraction. And the truth is, we are always in a state of the law of attraction. It just depends on where we're coming from energetically. And we're always going to be attracting the lesson that we need to learn, period. So if we find we're in, I'll call it pain, but man, fill in the blank, drama, pain, strong emotion, they're all the same thing. If we find we're in any of that, we're not listening to guidance. Because a guidance, well, and now I'm going to switch to reading this paragraph from the text. The Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain, drama, high major emotions, okay? The Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. I want to give you, this is chapter 7, the confusion of pain and joy. Because if you're not seeing guidance clearly, you will certainly be in pain, all right? So the Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. Surely no one would object to this goal if he recognized it. The problem is not whether what the Holy Spirit says is true, but whether you want to listen to what he says. This is critical. I spent my whole life not listening to the Holy Spirit. And so my life looked extremely dramatic in every aspect. You no more recognize what is painful than you know what is joyful, and are in fact very apt to confuse the two. And I'd even say you are in fact going to confuse the two. The Holy Spirit's main function is to teach you to tell them apart. What is joyful to you is painful to the ego. Okay? So if we're having any kind of pain, trauma, strong emotion, whatever, confusion, we are listening to the ego. Okay. What is joyful to you is painful to the ego. And as long as you are in doubt about what you are, you will be confused about joy and pain. And okay, I'm going to repeat this. What is joyful to you is painful to the ego. And as long as you are in doubt about what you are, you will be confused about joy and pain. So here's a real specific, okay, if you can take this in. Who you are is not Calico, is not Hannah, is not Hazel, is not any of that, okay? Who you are is I am. Pure consciousness. But if you're seeing yourself as a persona, then you're caught up in your life concepts and want it your way. I'm just speaking this because, man, if you can grok this, you will have a golden key to awaken from this insanity. Okay. So what is joyful to you is painful to the ego. And as long as you are in doubt about what you are, you will be confused about joy and pain. This confusion is the cause of the whole idea of sacrifice. However, obey the Holy Spirit and you will be giving up the ego. Again, ego tells you you're a person. You are not. So you really have to really get clear on who you are. And we talked about that last week. What am I? I mean, Jesus even said, what am I? Not who am I? Jesus didn't title that section, who am I? Jesus titled it, what am I? Because we're energy. And as long as we're seeing ourselves as a persona, we're going to be killing ourselves, quite frankly. And life will have a lot of not fun. All right. But the fun I want to share with you is not dependent on what's going on and who's doing what or not doing what. Okay. The happy that we gain from I am is we finally let go of all those concepts of who I am: a mother, a father, a girlfriend, a daughter, a son, a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief. Doesn't matter. And that's why this applies to everyone, no matter what circumstance, because we all have different circumstances. The reality is, but the clearing to awakening is the same for all of us. And it really is to get what you are is pure consciousness. That's where we came from. Pure consciousness as a loving thought from the mind of God just dripped down and was born into a life. And then they named you, and that's when everything started. That's when it started going bad, man. They put a name on you. And then all of a sudden, okay, life starts happening. And life is completely driven by this idea that it's real. Okay. And I mentioned this last week, but I'm going to say it again because I've been having more fun with this concept. You know, physics, which rules everything. You know, the whole atom bomb that we dropped, everything is based on physics. Everything is based on physics. But it's on the belief that Newtonian physics is real. Newton was just some guy sitting under an apple tree, an apple dropped on his head, and he made a belief out of it that he talked a lot of people into believing. What is really pure is quantum physics. Quantum physics is the physics by which we live. Quantum physics is the law of attraction that we all are doomed or blessed to see. And we're doomed if we're coming from our ego minds and wanting it our way. Blessed if we can see it has nothing to do with me. Nothing that happens in this world has anything to do with me. It's not personal because I'm pure consciousness. And pure consciousness is not personal. It's not personal. I don't usually respond to things on Facebook, but there was a thing on Facebook I saw yesterday, and it was this man was writing all about quantum physics. And he was talking about we're all interconnected. Guess what? We all share the same space. We all share the same space. It's not individual. That's the one mind. Now, if we can see that we share the same space and that what we're thinking is not personal. Nothing we think is personal. We can eradicate probably 90% of the thoughts that we think, but we're attached to those thoughts. And we feel like our life will not go well if we don't keep attached to those thoughts. I'm a mother, I'm a son, I'm a daughter, I'm a doctor, I'm an Indian chief. Okay? But the Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. The Holy Spirit is pure consciousness. It's that one piece of us that stays as pure consciousness. But we don't usually listen to it. I'll speak for myself. I didn't listen to it because the law of attraction is always working. Now, guess what? Okay, in this parable called Calico, I spent 30 years as a doctor, most of it working with people with cancer. I feared cancer. I thought cancer kills people. So I thought we're gonna figure out a way to fix this. Now, problem is my ego was still in charge. I was still seeing myself as a doctor. And so I came up with all these ways to cure cancer: diet, herbs, injections, whatever. Okay. But as pure consciousness, cancer's not a problem. Cancer doesn't even exist in pure consciousness. It existed in the mind of Calico because she feared it. So what you're attracting without, you don't have to say anything. You're attracting it just because you are conscious. And if you fear something, whoa, you have just slapped yourself silly. And you are going to attract a lot more of that fear. Okay. This is not a popular topic here, folks. Oh, at all. People don't want to own this because it makes us, rather than victims, it makes us creators of our reality. And if we're listening to Holy Spirit, to guidance, truly, we can avoid pain, total, whether it's emotional or physical. But like I said, this is not a popular idea. What I'm I'm just thinking, because I'm not going to create it, but I have to share because I think you'll get this. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, don't say that, Calico, don't say that. You're going to get a lot of ugly emails. And the reality is, yep, I may, particularly now that I've said it aloud. That's okay. I'll handle it. We are the creators of our reality, all of it. You know, the relatives that have drug problems, the physical ailments of our body. We are creators of all of it because what the law of attraction is to bring the lessons to us that I would learn. I'm going to, I write this on every time I post a Zoom, but I'm going to read it here because this is good to remember. Remember, I even put it at the bottom. Remember, time and space are only here to allow us the lessons we must learn to return to the grace that we are. That's on every Zoom. Every Zoom. And that's what it says. I am creator of my reality. And I'm still here in time and space because I'm still learning some lessons, or I have lessons that I would learn. Now, if I really want to wake up, I'm going to try doing something differently and truly listen for guidance. Guidance is always in the present moment. Guidance has no doubt. So if you're listening, and I did this a lot, if you're listening for guidance and you go, well, I'm not really clear on what my guidance is, it's not guidance. That's not guidance. Guidance is swift and immediate. And following guidance can be sometimes disturbing. Okay. One of the biggest ones for me was, and I'd known this my whole life. So this is, it wasn't like, it was like in this one moment I had this thought and thought maybe I should do this differently. No, my whole life was spent in, Calico, what's this desire to have, quote unquote, enough money? What does that even mean? And I really contemplated that. So when I got true guidance, it was give all your money away. Believe me, the persona Calico pushed that one out of mind a lot until the perfect scenario came up. And I just thought, yep, it's time. Give all my money away. Now, most quote unquote normal personas would find this disturbing. But I was getting close to being the I am, pure consciousness. And so I knew on some level, even if it wasn't conscious, I knew it was the next step for me. And it was about trusting. It's all about trusting. If you're listening to your ego's guidance, and ego has guidance, I followed it my entire life. I don't recommend it. It is not helpful, and it's usually pretty painful. But if you're listening to true guidance, it may be disarming, and you may have to push it away a lot before you finally get it. Okay? That's just part of this process of awakening. But once you embrace it, and believe me, I gave all the money away, but I still had a lot of lessons that came back. And this is, I'll be real honest, because I gave my money to someone that was really working with young people to give them a place to land that were working on the mind training. Okay. There wasn't anything broken. There was this desire to be helpful to young people that didn't have the resources. So I thought, great place to put the money. Support people in their mind training. Okay, that was easy. But then after that came so many times, oh my God, of what have I done? Oh my God, what have I done? I even said, if my father were alive, he would kill me. Because I got that belief. A lot of it came from him. He was a banker. Save, 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 save. Okay. So giving all my money away didn't fall into that belief set, but it fell into some set that, Jesus kept saying, give it all away and follow me. He said this to the disciples. This has been repeated more than one time. And most people do not want to take it literally. They take it metaphorically. But once you start taking this stuff literally, follow the guidance, even though it may be disturbing to you and may cause you great pain immediately, but stay with, I trust God. I trust God above all else. And the Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. Period. So if what you're doing, you have done before and you're still finding yourself in pain, guess what? You're not trusting God. You're not. Let's get honest here. Let's get real honest here. And as long as you're not trusting God through Holy Spirit's guidance, it may be good for a little bit, and then it'll be icky again. It's like, oh shit, why is this still happening to me? See, the one thing I never had with giving my money away, I worried about not having enough money, but I always had enough money. Okay. And as soon as I started worrying about not having enough money, I had to go deep. I had to go, Holy Spirit, I know this is nonsense. I gave that money away with clear focus, clarity of mind. And I know it's to trust that all my needs will be taken care of. And all the needs of everyone in my life are always being taken care of. Now, they may have egos in the way that are preventing them from seeing that, but I can't help them. I can't help them. I can only help this one mind, this pure consciousness that I've been calling Calico since I took my first breath. Okay. So again, just to repeat, because I know this may take a while to set in, we are always involved in the law of attraction. We attract pain to ourselves on a regular basis. We attract drama to ourselves on a regular basis. Why? Because everything is a lesson I would learn. So the drama comes at me or the pain comes at me and it feels real personal. It's for me to go into prayer and go, Holy Spirit, I'm not trusting you right now. I'm seeing this as personal, and I know there's nothing personal here. So can you help me unravel any other beliefs that may be tied into this that are keeping me stuck in seeing this as personal? And okay, I'm going to share. Yeah, I'm going to share this. And I don't want you to confuse this because really, there were, from the time I gave money away until the time I stopped having stuff come up around it was about 6 years. Okay. But every time something would come up, I'd go, nope, nope, nope. I want to trust God. I know that God's got me. God will take care of me. And me thinking that I don't have enough of something is just this small persona calico fearing something. So it was about 6 years. Now, at the end of this 6-year time, I wish Suzanne would hear. We laugh about it all the time. Okay, so I had moved to Mexico and I had kind of transferred everything down here. And I was trying to, because they said I was dying. Oh God, and that's a whole thing, a topic on itself. But we were in with we have the same banker, Suzanne and I, and we were sitting there, and I don't know why it came to me. I asked him because I never check. I don't look at my accounts. I just trust that I'll get whatever it is that I need. I asked him how much was in the account, and he gave me a total in pesos. And that falls in complete deaf ears for me. And I went, oh, okay. But Suzanne went into her app and tried to figure out how many pesos I had. And and I figured I had probably about $4,000 in the account. And Suzanne did her little calculation. She said, well, Calico, you really only have $3,000 in that account. And I just shoved it off because I wasn't into getting screwed around with this fear of not having enough. Because I'd worked on it for 6 years. So I said, oh, okay, well, I knew it was, a small amount of money. And so we went on and I came home, she went home. And that afternoon she emailed me and she says, oh my God, Calico, I made a mistake. I made a total mistake. She said, you have actually, I think she said $35,000. And see, here's the joke, and this is why I know this idea that I need more money has healed for me. I just laughed at it because it was meaningless to me at that point. I really didn't care one way or the other. It's like, oh, wow. But I thought about it later and I thought, where the fuck did $30,000 come from? I have no idea because I didn't have $30,000 to put into that account. But I let it go thinking, oh, well, you know, I have no idea. Money just appeared in my account. And here's the deal. If something's really got you by the cojones right now, and you really want it a certain way, you have got to relinquish total control. Do nothing. This isn't a suggestion by me. This is God talking. Do nothing. And if you find yourself in a loop that you keep doing things to make more money or change some situation, and yet the situation doesn't change, you're not listening to true guidance. Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. And if you're looping back into pain, physical or emotional, you're not listening to true guidance. You're listening to your ego. And what's that joke about ego? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It ain't going to happen. And you can spend lifetimes, not just this, you can spend many lifetimes dealing with this, which opens up a whole nother topic that I have been kind of looking at. But I'm not going to start that today because that will confuse the issue. I really want to get, Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. So to listen to guidance is a true bypass to drama and pain of any kind, physical or emotional. And if you're having trouble with this one, look at, look at what you're praying for, really, with great honesty. Because the chances are there's level of confusion involved. You want it your way. I know I certainly did. I wanted enough money to be comfortable. And unfortunately, particularly when it comes to money, there is not enough money to make you comfortable. Ask anyone who has a lot of money. At some point, it turns and you're fearful of losing the money. But the reality is, money will never make you comfortable. What will make you comfortable is listening to the true guidance of your soul, of your consciousness. And so it's really by getting that level of, and again, I invite all watchers of this Zoom, Google level confusion in any of the ACIM texts on computer. ACIM Now is the one I use. And if you search level confusion, it'll help bring up this topic because we want it our way. It's a very strong desire when we're coming from a persona. Like Calico had some pretty strong desires. And instead of letting those desires go and getting into only wanting the peace of God, I wanted the peace of God, but I also wanted to be healed from cancer. I also wanted to have enough money to make it comfortable. I had to let go of those ideas that A, I could heal cancer, or B, that enough money would make me happy. And it will bring stuff up. It's not an easy, oh, good, aha, I've got the golden ticket and this will just be simple. Because your ego is going to come back and slap you around and tell you what a mistake you've made. And all I can say is trust God. Trust the love that you are. Trust Jesus. I don't care what you call it. Trust love, true love, not the ego's concept of love. and keep going. Okay. Okay, so I think that's well, at the very end of this, it's talking about the Holy Spirit will direct you only so as to avoid pain. And it goes on about how we're usually not listening to Holy Spirit. But if you truly believed Holy Spirit, there would be no conflict ever. Okay? And that's what we're trying to get through. And this is just part of that process is, this is really where it demands that you step off a cliff. And for me, it was really, well, there's been a lot of cliffs. The first one was when I was still believing in cancer and still believing that I was dying. I didn't talk about cancer ever. Now I can talk about it because it holds no fear. But at the time, it held a lot of fear. So when you jump off these cliffs, you're jumping off with fear. Okay? So I'm not going to say this is easy because it's not. You're holding on to your fear and you're jumping anyway. That's truly trusting the universe as a conscious being, not as a persona. Your persona may grieve. I know mine did. It grieved not being able to cure. It grieved not being able to have enough money to make me comfortable. And I had to go through that and look at what is this grieving about? And then I'd go deeper into this belief of, I want it my way. My way is the right way. I mean, I had quite a few different beliefs in that one. So this is a part of a process. Not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it is, to the best of my ability, it is the only way to wake up. You can't avoid pain. You can just pray to see it differently. Okay? So with that being said, we're going to close out the Zoom room. Goodbye, everyone in Zoom room land.